Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Skate Hacks, and today we're going over tray flips. Go ahead and hit that sub button if you haven't already. We go over tips and tricks, anything having to do with skateboarding. I just love discussing skateboarding, and hopefully my tips and insights can help you guys learn a lot as well. So we're going over tray flips, and we've talked about tray flips before. I have a tray flip tutorial. I'll put the link in the description below for that. But I just wanted to summarize the top 5 problems I see people have with tray flips, especially when I get DMs of people asking me what's wrong with their tray flip or their kick flip or whatever. And I see this reoccurring theme. So I just wanted to go over the top 5 tips, top 5 things not to do when learning how to tray flip. So number 1 here is leaning forward too much. I see a lot of people putting way too much weight on the front foot, and if you do that, you're likely to have the board kind of flip behind you. It's not a good balance of weight. You want to actually be leaning back a little more and have the board flip out in front of you or under you at least. And when you lean forward too much, some of y'all, it looks like you're just trying to examine the forensics of your grip tape or something. Like, you don't want to lean forward that much, so make sure you balance your weight out evenly or just sort of lean towards the back end. Number 2, you don't want to have your feet too close together. Now this happens after you scoop, and watch the back foot on the scoop here. You'll see that it continues back around all the way up to the front foot. And you don't want your feet to get too close together like that, because you'll end up landing on the nose of the board, or you'll slip out because your feet are too close together. You don't have good balance. So just after you do the scooping motion, watch where that back foot is and make sure it doesn't get too close to the front foot. After you're done with the scoop, it helps to just bring it back to its normal position. You don't have to do the dangling 1-foot catch tray or whatever, but just make sure that after you complete the scoop that it goes back to its normal position so that you don't have the feet too close together. Number 3, having your back foot flat. And what I mean by this is you can basically pause any good tray flip and you'll see that the back foot, the person has pressure on their toes. So you want to keep the pressure on your toes. You want the board to be kind of leaning in that direction. It actually helps with the kick flip a lot as well, and I've explained this in my tray flip tutorial if you want to go watch that. But when you have your back foot with the pressure on the toes, it creates a really nice pressure point, and it also really helps out with the scoop. So make sure that your back foot isn't flat on the board like a kick flip or something like that. You want it to be more with the pressure on the toes. And this leads me to number 4, which is the back foot not being in the scooping position. So you'll see here that I'm trying to tray flip, but my back foot isn't in the scooping position with the toes hanging off. So this is really vital for the tray flip here. You can see that I've gotten somewhat of a scoop, but not the full scoop, not the full rotation, and the kick flip's fine, but it's not really completing the rotation. So that's what happens when you don't have your back foot in the scooping position. You're not going to get the full rotation. So make sure it's in the scooping position and you have the pressure on the toes. And for my last tip here, it's really easy to be focusing on the kickflip too much. Some of you guys just worry about flicking the kickflip really hard, and that's really not the case with a tray flip. With tray flips, you've probably heard this with other tips, but it is true. It's all about the back foot. So you want to make sure you have your back foot in the scooping position, you have pressure on the toes, and you don't really have to kickflip too much. The front foot is really just kind of there in the kickflip position, and once you start the scoop, you don't really have to do too much with the kickflip. You don't have to flick really hard like as if you're trying to do a double tray flip or whatever. You just want to have that front foot chilling there, and you just want it to have it there for the catch and just landing back on the board. You don't need to do too much for it. So I've even shown right here that this, if you look at this right here, this is a tray flip with very, very minimal front foot movement. So my front foot's not doing much in this at all yet. It completes the full rotation, the full flick, and everything. So that just goes to show you that the tray flip isn't really so much about flicking out the kick flip too much. It's all about what you're doing with your back foot, your weight distribution, and all of that. So don't worry so much about the kick flip. You can just really chill on the kick flip. If you have really good board control with your tray flips and you got them down, you can see right here that you don't need a fast, hard kick flip it just sort of, the back foot really controls the scooping motion, and it just really gets the kickflip going as far as the rotation goes. So don't worry so much about the kickflip, focus on the back foot and everything else. And even with just a little flicking motion on the kickflip, you can get a really solid tray flip. So those are my 5 tips on things you shouldn't do when worrying about tray flips, when you're learning how to tray flip. Thank you guys for watching. As always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. Let me know what you want to see. Comment down below for any future skate hack suggestions, any videos you want to see me cover. Thank you guys for all the support again, and I'll see you next time.